Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing.
On live streaming. Thank you. So welcome to the hybrid meeting of the Governance, Resources and Strategy Committee. Can I ask everyone to please mute their microphones at all times unless invited to speak by myself? For those of you who are physically in the council chamber this evening, can I please remind you that when speaking to your microphone, you will need to wait until you see yourself on the screen so the live feed can pick up your comments. If you speak before the image is projected, those listening on the live feed via Zoom will not hear anything you say. This is obviously particularly important in the case of a vote being required. We have an apology this evening from Councillor Kevin Savage. Have any more from the floor? Alderman Baxter.
Yeah, Councillor McElrath and Alderman and Councillor Mitry.
Lovely, thank you. That's all the lights on anyway. So members, we'll move on to agenda item 2, declarations of interest, or I can take these as we go along. Councillor Savage.
All right. Thanks, Chair, for letting me in. Just a member of East Border Region.
Councillor McLennan.
Yes, Chair, similar to the previous speaker, member East Border Region Board. Thanks.
Councillor Lavery.
Thank you, Chair. Just a member East Border Region Members Forum and then Nick Ballon as well. Get them all out there early.
That's no problem. Thank you. We've no other lights on, members. So we'll move to our presentation with Det from the East Border Region. I'll hand it over to you, Det. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks very much for having me here just to give the annual presentation from East Border Region. And if I could just note an apology from our Chief Executive, Pamela Arthur. She's actually out of the country at the moment. So just I'm going to take you through a number of points this evening. I want to just highlight some of the funding opportunities for local authorities, focusing on the Peace Plus programme and the Shared Island Fund. I then want to speak about the Peace Plus Small Grants Programme, our elected member capacity building activity, Take 500 contract, and EBR's 50th anniversary, which is coming up in 2026. So the Peace Plus programme, I'm sure members are all quite aware of the scale of Peace Plus at this stage. It is a €1.1 billion fund and covers a vast array of thematic areas. You can see just on your screen there 6 themes and all the various investment areas. And in East Border Region, we have tended to focus our attention on investment areas that are particularly relevant to our member local authorities, to try and maximise the opportunities arising from those thematic areas. And we were delighted to say that, you know, there are huge opportunities for local authorities in Peace Plus. Many of you will be aware of the Interreg programme, and the opportunities for local authorities were really quite limited. But in this programme, they are really, really quite vast. So in East Border, we've adopted the approach of being lead partner for some projects. The first few slides there that you'll see, we're also we could also provide EU compliance support via tender for certain projects as well. And we are also hoping to get on the special EU programmes body framework for the first level control work. So that's ongoing at the moment. So we're kind of keeping our options open and having a sort of flexible approach to make sure we do maximise the opportunities in the programme. So the first, we're absolutely delighted to say that we've had one project funded already from Peace Plus, and that's the Mini DigiHub project. The value, as you can see there, is over €6 million. So that's a very significant investment coming into the region. The idea of that project is to address the digital divide and catalyse economic growth, inclusivity and balanced regional development across East Border Region. So we will be transforming underutilised public buildings into vibrant digital hubs. Each one will have a unique thematic focus designed to meet specific needs of the local communities and the region at large. So in our 5 local authority members that are partners, we will have a mini digital hub in each of those areas. So in ABC Council, it will be in Bleary Business and Community Centre. In Clonus and Monaghan will be an old Bank of Ireland, which the council have purchased. And you can see there are the other locations across the region. There will also be a mobile digital lab, which is going to be managed by Dundalk Institute of Technology. And it's going to house high-end equipment that will travel around the whole region. It will visit schools, colleges, community centres, businesses, and provide really bespoke master classes and provide the high-end equipment that businesses will not have to invest in, and they'll be able to use it through the mini digital lab, or the mobile digital lab, sorry. And there's just an image, members will probably be familiar with this, but that's what the Bleary hub could potentially look like when it's finished. So it's repurposing a bit of that building into the lab. And our next project is the Heritage Cross Trails project, and it's looking at developing green infrastructure across our member councils to promote active lifestyles and support rural social enterprises. Again, a very significant budget, 6.7 million euro. We haven't been awarded the funding, but we are cautiously optimistic that we will hopefully get a positive decision on that later this year. So again, there will be infrastructure across all of our member councils. You can see the range of them across there, but the 2 in ABC Council are works at Mahary Country Park and Oxford Island. There'll be trails, green infrastructure developed there. And the third one that we've submitted is the CAMS project, Catchment Action for Local Management. And that's looking at water quality across the area. Now, there's only one of our member councils are actually a partner in this project, and that's ABC Council. And this project was really developed here by Marcus Malley, your officer. He was very proactive in bringing this consortium together. And you can see there the actions. It's very topical. It's looking at a strategy for nutrient management, which obviously will impact on Lough Neagh and be really useful for trying to address the issues there. So again, large project, 9 million euro. Hoping for a decision later this year. And then, so those are the applications we've submitted at the moment. There's a few more in the pipeline. One looking at place planning, place shaping, and Lisa here beside me has been very proactive in bringing this project forward. Looking to try and develop more place plans for town centres and extending the work of the Placemaking Academy with Queen's University. So we'll be hoping to submit an application hopefully next year. And then this one has only really recently sort of come onto our table, looking at clean air strategies. And it was your officer, Paul McCullough, that has been very proactive in bringing this forward. And East Border will probably lead on this, looking at air pollution from solid fuels, air pollution from road transport, and looking at the issue of ammonia and agriculture pollution. So again, probably a 6.5 million euro project working with universities and AFBI and that across the whole region. And then also just to note, the Shared Island Fund, there really has been unprecedented funding awarded into our region. You can see the projects there. Whilst East Border are involved in a number of those, we're not directly managing the funds, but all of these projects significantly impact on our region and will significantly help, to boost the economy of our region. There was a small fund last year, the Community Climate Action Programme, and we facilitated partnership between ABC Council and Castleblaney Community Enterprise Centre, and they were awarded 70,000 euro just for these activities. So again, that was a really positive programme. There will be certainly more opportunities next year, and East Border would be happy to facilitate any further partnerships. And then another development, this is a new contract for us, and we're particularly excited about this. It's called the Peace Plus Small Grants Programme. So there's two investment areas within Peace Plus that are looking at people to people cooperation. So we're in a consortium with Cooperation Ireland, with Rural Action and ourselves. And we've been awarded the tender to be the delivery agent for this, for these two strands of Peace Plus. So the first one there, the empowering communities, that's for cross community work. So it'll be looking at sporting organisations, community voluntary sector, and they can apply, groups can apply for from 20,000 up to 100,000 for people to people cross community activity. And then the second strand of that, which is 20 million euro as well, it's looking at cross border cooperation. So again, community groups, community voluntary sector, any of those organisations, grants up to 100,000 as well. And we do feel that elected members will play a key role in bringing groups forward into these to apply for these funds. And we'll be having a range of workshops and roadshows starting in January for the rollout of that programme. So we're particularly excited about that. And then the other aspect of what we do, and it is very important to East Border region to continually, build the capacity and keep the relationships going between our elected members. Because with elections, either north or south, you're always getting new members on board, and it is very important to keep those relationships. We're now doing some work on east-west linkages as well as north-south, which is really important as well, and to realise opportunities for financial and non-financial cooperation. So we've just recently received some money from the Reconciliation Fund in Ireland, and we're working in partnership with the Welsh Government. So we'll be having an event now on the 26th to the 28th of November, and 14 of our East Border elected members will be travelling to that. So the theme of this activity is around health and life sciences, and we will have 3 different events over the course of the next year. So we're quite excited about that. That's a new dimension to our work. We also have just finished, or we're almost finished managing the Tech 500 PB programme on behalf of ABC Council. We won that tender. So again, that's a lovely programme. You can really see the benefit that small amount of funding really makes to the community groups. It's fantastic, and it's lovely to be involved in it. And then we do have a big birthday coming up in 2026. East Border will be celebrating our 50th anniversary. So we are one of the longest established cross-border groups in Europe. So, we're really proud of that legacy. So we have a whole programme of events planned. You can see them all there. We want to showcase the success of East Border region through the projects and through the work that we've done. But also to show how, we are such a resilient organisation. We're so flexible, no matter what was happening at the national level in terms of politics or, issues, we always stayed together and we always stayed strong because our elected members, were key to that. And they always recognised the benefits of collaborating together on a cross-border basis. So we have a whole range of events there. I suppose one of the key ones, we're actually hosting the Association of European Border Regions Conference. And that is up to 250 people from border regions across Europe will all be coming to our region in 2026. So we're very excited about that. And just to conclude, members, that, just to reiterate that we really do appreciate the ongoing support from ABC Council. The officers are always extremely proactive and really keen to work with us to develop projects that benefit our region. We can always rely on the support of our elected members on the board and on the members forum, and we never really take that for granted. We just really do appreciate it. So I'm happy to take any questions.
Thanks a million for that. And we can open it out to the floor if you have any questions. No questions, just ringtones. So thank you very much for coming in. And I think on behalf of the members here, I suppose the Take 500, I suppose, is the most recent project we've had with you, and it's been managed really, really well, and we really appreciate that. It's been had a great impact on loads of communities across ABC, as well as the Peace Plus, obviously, which has funded a number of fantastic projects. So thank you very much for coming in. Thank you. Members will just wait briefly until we can allow Jack to leave and Shane to come back in for the next presentation. Thank you. So members, just while Shane is getting set up, I just want to state that while I am a member of ICBAN, I will be acting tonight in my role as chair of the committee to facilitate the discussion and presentation from ICBAN, but will not be taking part in any decision or vote on any matter should it arise during the discussion. This interest also applies to agenda item 14.2, and we've had declaration of interest from Councillor Lavery, and Alderman Moutry isn't present, so we're happy, okay to proceed. Shane, if you're ready, I'll bring you in for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to update you on ICBAN's work programme for the 6 months period to the 30th of September past. And just at this outset, I would also like to put on record our appreciation and thanks to the Council for the continuing support to our organisation through the annual contribution. Next slide. And I'm going to focus on the outputs that we are delivering upon at the moment, and quickly running through those. We're really looking at the interactions and the cooperation opportunities that we promote through our work. I'll talk about our promotion of our regional strategy, the framework of regional priorities, and in particular pay attention to point number 3 here, which is where we're developing projects that are delivering on that strategy's ambitions. Also touch on the continuing representations we make on matters such as Brexit and broadband and our general work in communicating what we do. Thank you. Interactions goes to the heart of what we do in promoting cooperation, and that can be between stakeholders right across the region where we facilitate those coming together and those linkages. It can also happen through the likes of our own structures, such as our Council Senior Officers Forum, which is a mechanism we use to bring together directors and heads of service from councils to meet with one another to discuss common issues and look at potential opportunities to do things together. We've also got a similar structure that we facilitate on behalf of the area's educational institutions. That includes the likes of Southern Regional College and Southwest College, meeting with the Irish County Enterprise Boards across the region, of which there's 3, and also the Atlantic Technological Opportunity, which is situated in Sligo and Donegal of the ICBAN region. But the key structure that we have for promoting interactions is through our management board. In the last year and a half, we've had a turnover of 2/3 of our board members as a result of the local elections in the south of Ireland, in the county councils, and the recent local elections here in Northern Ireland. At this time for ICBAN, it's a key period of change. We are, as I'll report on shortly, now going to be delivering on at least 3 significant Peace Plus projects. That requires of ICBAN to have the correct governance, the correct structures in place that we can deliver on these projects effectively, because we have to, as lead partner and as project partner for those, meet the financial and the legal responsibilities involved. To that end, our good governance is critical, and as is promoting the positive interrelationships and working relationships then between the board members. When you have a situation where you have such a turnover of board members, well, in our case, we are now investing in a capacity building program for the members. That's just recently started with some seminars on key topics for the members, and also interested council officials that wish to attend those. So those have been on what is cooperation, looking at the values and principles of that, looking at best practice. Also looking at the different governance systems between North and South, and particularly the different roles and responsibilities that there are between local authorities on each side of the border, and how we ECBAN then in that space can facilitate those interactions despite those differences. We have a number of other key seminars that we're looking to run over the next while and into 25, looking at the factors impacting on cooperation. We're also looking at the impacts of Brexit on cooperation north-south and at different levels, and to take the learning from these as we work into next year to review and then renew our strategy. The second element of the capacity building programme is a study visit that we're now organising to the Borderlands region of Scotland and England for the end of the month. The Borderlands partnership is a growth deal partnership, and our relationship with this group goes back 3 years to when we developed our own regional strategy. And at that stage, we were looking at their project ambitions, their ideas, and taking learning from those. So in the next couple of weeks, it's timely to go back to the Scottish English border region and to see how these projects have moved forward. Our delegation will be representative of councillors from the board and also interested council officers. There's a range of projects that we have an interest in, and they're listed here, including, I think, some that your own council's already very aware of, including the agri-dairy connections through the Dairy Nexus project. I think as Lisa has been engaged with that. But we're also looking at a number of other projects that we're keen to learn from, and those include those that are closely associated with the projects that ECBAN's going to have a responsibility from. So if we can take learning from the Scottish English region, bring it back to our area, we'll only benefit from that. And finally, the third element of the capacity building programme is our continuing cooperation and interrelationships with the other cross-border groups, including, of course, East Border Region, I've just been in before, but also Northwest Strategic Partnership Board, because our working relationships and our long-standing history goes right back to whenever ECBAN was formed in 1995. But we face common issues right across the border region, and in many instances, there are opportunities then for a whole of border region approach. So that's our third element of the capacity building programme, of which we'll be interacting on behalf of our new members, or encouraging our new members to interact with the other cross-border groups. Thank you. In terms of project developments, this is the section I just want to focus on for a few moments then. Our focus in the last 2 years has been on developing, building projects, but particularly Peace Plus, but we've also been involved in supporting and developing projects for the UK Levelling Up and the Irish Shared Island programme. But of late, our interests and our energies have been devoted to Peace Plus. We're delighted now that in green we have 3 projects now that have been approved for just over 33 million of investment then into the area. I'll touch on these in more detail in a moment, but it starts with DS3, which is a Smart Towns and Villages project, and of which the council is a partner with us. That's been approved for 3.3 million. Gemini is a geothermal project. We're a project partner in this one, and that's been approved for 20 million. GRASP is a green skills retrofitting project, skills development for the sustainable construction sector. It's led by Southwest College. That's approved for 10 million. We've also got one project in the system that's now going through assessment, and in the hope, of course, that that'll be approved. That's the Flow Water Quality Project for the Erne catchment, and that's been submitted for over 5 million, and we're hopeful that that'll be approved early next year. We have a number of other interests in other Peace Plus projects, including one around strategic cross-border collaborations. We're looking at this one with the education sector as well, and the wider economic development sector. It's looking at future skills needs, and particularly issues around the transferability of and the recognition of qualifications and labour mobility issues across the border as well. So that's one that we're looking at. Now, whether ECBAN will be a project partner in that, or whether we will just facilitate and promote linkages for the benefit of that to our region for that project to deliver for our area, it remains to be seen. And we have interest also in SME development. So on the next slide now, I'm just going to talk about the DS3 project. This is the Smart Towns and Villages project. It's ECBAN's a lead partner in this. It's a strategic investment in digital services, digital sports, and digital spaces. And the ambition or the aim is to modernise, grow and future-proof a cluster of challenged towns and villages in our Central Border region. There's three elements to this. The first element is learning, and this is led by Southern Regional College. It's very much digital skills mentoring. We're talking about supporting a minimum of 250 businesses here and 500 community beneficiaries through the project over the next 3.5 years. The second element is the interventions, and this is where we're investing in 2 cross-border mobile hubs. One's a multimedia hub and the other's a fabrication lab. That fabrication lab is more orientated towards the advanced manufacturing sector and people with an interest in that. But ultimately, you're looking at 3,000 beneficiaries availing of these mobile hubs that will be available across the region to this council area and beyond. And there's some 5,400 hours of training. Ultimate interventions then is digital platforms in which we're providing for 14 target communities to have digital platforms that can complement and add to any other digital opportunities or services that are available for an area. And that's really about promoting events, selling services, products within the region and beyond. And the last element is legacy, which is where we're looking at 3 smart place frameworks that will support key towns and villages as smart towns and villages for the region going forward. The partners in the project there you can see on the right includes 7 councils, including ABC, Southern Regional College, Western Development Commission based in the Irish Republic as the Connected Hubs facility, which is very much around the digital hubs and the services that they provide, and then also Ulster University. Thank you. And the next project is to touch briefly on Gemini, the geothermal project. We developed a project that is responding to the government's call for developing the market for geothermal energy that can de-risk both shallow and deep geothermal energy projects. It's very much about promoting energy efficiencies and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. It's about encouraging investment in the geothermal energy and technology sector, very much to the benefit environmentally, socially and economically for the area. Our role is very much around community engagement. We're a smaller partner in this project. It's about working on developing a guide to support local authorities in dealing with geothermal projects that are going to be coming through the system in the future, and also the development of a cross-border apprenticeship programme. This is led by CODEMA, which is the City of Dublin Energy Management Agency, and also includes for the key partners in the project are really the geological surveys, both of Northern Ireland and Ireland. Again, this project is only recently approved and we're just going through the inception stages of it, very similar to the DS3 project. I don't have a slide on the grass project, so I was just going to mention it in passing before the next slide, and that is the recently approved retrofitting project that we have, and it's led by Southwest College. Just after it committed this slide to the council for the presentation tonight, the project was approved for 10 million. Just to give it a little bit of detail to share with you, it's about very much addressing the green skills deficit in the combined cross-border construction sector. We're working here with 8 further education training institutions and the construction sector partners in the region to develop a suite of green skills qualifications. It's very much about supporting the construction or the retrofitting of buildings to near zero energy standards. And we're looking at 50 green skills programs of study aligned to the construction sector's needs on both sides of the border here, leading to green apprenticeships and joint awards that will be recognised then and developed from both sides of the border. We're targeting employers, employees and schools as well of the area to look at these opportunities. Ultimately, the outputs of this project is a green skills training strategy and action plan. But really, it's about the 2,000 participations in the joint training schemes, whereby there will be 800 people completing those with qualifications, etc. You're talking about levels 2 to 7 in Northern Ireland and levels 4 to 9 in Ireland. Again, look, that's just approved, as I said, in the last few days, and we're very much looking forward to delivering this project. That's GRASP, and that's for 10 million euro. And just to the last slides then, and the next one, if you wouldn't mind, and it's just to wrap up. In terms of our regional strategy, we will review this now and renew it next year as we look at what the key issues are. When any of the projects that we're developing have to be in line with the strategy. We're looking at new opportunities for that, particularly for later calls of Peace Plus that'll be happening over the next few years and other funding programs. We will continue to promote our structures, including further work in formalising the structure that we have between the education institutions. That's already borne good fruit with the GRASS project that's got approved, and that steering group is just now going 2 years. So we're keen to develop further projects that will really help us drive on the education and skills element of our regional strategy, with all the working groups then committed to the Ulster Canal and other areas. And just finally to note that in terms of our continued promotion of the FRP in the region's interests, we ensure that we are promoting the region through consultations, including the draft programme for Northern Ireland's government, the National Planning Framework in Ireland, All Ireland Strategic Rail, consultations around greenways, water quality, water heritage, of course, pertaining to Lough Neagh, and so on. That's really, members and chair, to conclude the presentation. I just want to finish off by just acknowledging thanks to the council, to all the council officers who work with us. ECMAN's a facilitator, really. Our project ideas are very much driven by councils and other stakeholders coming together, and we're therefore indebted to all the council officers who work with us in working groups and in project partnerships as well. I also want to put our thanks to our board members who serve on the board of ECMAN, to yourself, Chair, to Councillor Haughey, Councillor Julie Flaherty, Councillor Peter Lavery, and also to Alderman Stephen Moutry, and past members, of course, who are on the committee here. And I hope I've got everyone, Councillor Joy Ferguson and Councillor Liam Michael. I'm happy to take any questions. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Shane, for that presentation. Members have any questions? The presentation was that good, Shane. They're lost for words. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in this evening. Members, if we're content, then we can move on to agenda item 5. I'll pass you over to Charlene for information item 5.1 about the 6-monthly business plan progress report.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening, members. This report is an information item. It sets out an update on our mid-year progress against the business plans for the 2024-25 year for the 9 departments which fall under the Chief Executive and Deputy Chief Executive, and then Estates and Asset Management, which falls under the Director of Regulatory Services, Facilities and Assets, that are all covered by this committee. The report summarises the achievements to date. It highlights some factors where there has been some impact on delivery, and then the detailed updates are contained within the appendices section. Overall, good progress has been made across all departments. It is worth noting that of a total of 196 measures across the Chief Executive and Deputy Chief Executive departments, that 62% have been achieved. 10% are amber and 3% are red. There are 25% that are not yet due to be reported on until either Q3 or Q4. We have reviewed the key issues that have impacted on those measures, which are showing currently as amber and red. And just by way of brief summary, those have included the impact of staff capacity. This has included difficulty in filling key roles, particularly in areas like information governance and business continuity. However, recruitment to vacant roles in those areas is underway. Staff capacity also impacted on response times for the IT help desk. Sickness absence has impacted on the achievement of some indicators, particularly in departments which are quite small, and even if one member of staff is off, it makes it incredibly difficult to achieve the target percentage in those teams. Industrial relations issues have delayed progress on our joint trade union management programme of work. And then finally, there have been a couple of minor delays with some achievements that were expected in Q2 now just rolling into Q3, but expected to be achieved. So that's an overview of the departments under the Chief Executive and Deputy Chief Executive. And I'm going to hand over then to Caroline to cover the Estates and Asset Management Business Plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening, members. As regards the Estates and Asset Management Department's business plan, At this point in the year, we are pleased to report that 80% of our measures have been recorded as green, with 20% as amber and none in red at present. And that is despite the ongoing difficulties that we're experiencing due to a large number of posts in recruitment at present, and obviously with key staff absence. So I would just want to pay tribute to the staff that are with us and working with us in ensuring that the business gets done in the meantime. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Charlene, I have a question from Councillor Lowry.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Charlene. Thank you, Caroline. Just want to ask a query regarding the point Caroline touched on, just in terms of the Estates Department, and there has been a number of vacant posts. Just if Caroline has an update at the minute, how many vacant posts there is in the States and when those will be filled by, and particularly head of the department. If there's any clarity on that this time, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lavery, for that question. So the head of estates and asset management post has been re-advertised and is closing within the next week, with a view to recruitment processes being concluded in early December, hopefully with an appointment being made therein. There are also interim roles in the capital department and in estates and asset management in general that are vacant at the moment. So of our 4 tier 4 posts that would report directly to the chair, we have 1 currently in post, 2 vacant, and 1 who is back in post at the moment following a period of sickness absence. So we wish to make sure that we appoint a head of department and then allow that head of department to influence the filling of posts in the rest of the structure, but at the same time then monitoring the work ongoing and making sure that it is covered. And to that end, we have made an interim acting up arrangement, and we have Catherine Barry here tonight, who will be the interim head of department for estates until such times as permanent posts are secured.
Thank you, Caroline and Councillor Lavery. Councillor McLennan.
Okay, Chair, thank you for letting me in, and thank you to Charlene and to Caroline for the report. I suppose my question follows on from Councillor Lavery's, and that, you know, I suppose as an organisation, when we have quite a few posts vacant, how often is it possible to do multi recruitments? Because I think we are all aware that recruitment processes are time consuming, they can be expensive and so on. So maybe if Caroline could give us a couple of sentences on just how that all works out, and I mean, you know, is there potential for us as an organisation to save money in recruitment processes? Thanks, Chair.
Thank you for that question. So where possible, we have been trying to run the recruitment processes concurrently. Certainly with our head of department recruitment process, we were successful, and then the candidate withdrew and we were out to recruit again. As regards the remainder of the posts in the structure, they are running, those recruitment processes are running concurrently, and those are relying upon the resources of our own HR team. And I'll maybe pass to Niamh, who can maybe give you further detail on that.
Yes, not a problem. I can come in on that. Just councillor as well, to hopefully address your question. Each recruitment exercise, I suppose, needs to be taken on its own merits. So whenever we go out to recruit, we will then, if we are unsuccessful, for example, in one exercise, we will have to determine then what's the best course of action after that. If the market has been good and we got a good response to that, it might be worth in going back out to the market with the specification and the job description written in exactly the same way. If we find that we have put something out and we haven't been able to attract something, then what we do is we take a look at the specification again, and we maybe would make some alterations to that before it would go back out again. We have also in the past where we have roles which we have not been able to fill, we maybe look then at creating a trainee role, and we bring someone in at a lower level and we train and develop them up to that standard. So there are various options open to us, and we just make the best call based on what the market is telling us at that time.
Thank you, Niamh and Caroline. Councillor Deputy Lord Mayor, Councillor Kate Savage.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Charlene and Caroline, for your presentation tonight. Just, I suppose, a simple one. What is the overall percentage of vacancies within council that we have within our whole council team? There was a recent NILGA meeting there, and I forget what council it was. They were given a presentation. They had identified, like there was something like 14% of vacancies right across. And looking at this report here, our sick is 19.9%. Would that be right? That's for the local government auditors report. That's 19%, but that's going to have an adverse effect on that. And just following on from what Niamh's saying there too, you know, last week was at the jobs fair in Banbridge, very good event, and a lot of local businesses there and all, but council wasn't there at that event, and I was thinking that should be a prime time for us to be out there showcasing our vacancies, especially to all those young people. It was a very well turned out event. So as you know, but I think we've missed an opportunity there to reach out. But no, just if there's a percentage there of overall vacancies, I'd be interested in that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Savage. I don't have details here at this point in time around numbers of vacancies. I can say that again, it's a bit like our recruitment processes. It's very specific depending on the type of role. As you can imagine, there are some roles that are much more difficult for us to recruit into. We've had particular difficulty, as you'll remember, around customer standards and business continuity and areas like that. The area as well, I suppose, that we're having particular difficulty with at this point in time as well is turnover in some of the environmental services roles, the likes of HGV drivers and areas like that. But we would have to get more detail on that. And then our sickness and absence is being reported through the Performance and Audit Committee. So you will get the quarter end September report. We certainly have it already worked through at a team level on that as well. And we have a baseline target of no more than 16 days on average per employee across the year, which is 4 days per quarter. So that's being updated through each of the business plan progress updates. So on the service committees, you will hear there about the services. And then here, in regards to Chief Executive and Deputy Chief Executive Department, the sickness was 3.45 in quarter 1 and 3 in quarter 2. So both down compared to what our target would be of the 4 days. So both of them below that. But again, it'll depend on a service by service basis. Thank you.
So we get the overall percentage of that then at a later date then, will that be suitable? Please, just of the just of everything within the council, please.
That's okay. Thank you, Councillor Savage. Members, have no more lights on, so if we're content, we'll move on to agenda item 6. So it's the decision item on the draft business continuity policy. So I'll pass you to Martina for this one.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening, members. Yes, this is a decision item, as the Chair said, in relation to the Council's first business continuity policy. The policy itself defines what business continuity and business continuity management is. And as you'll be aware, it is essential that Council is able to ensure that we do have good business continuity management in place. And the policy itself aims to enable that Council's senior leadership team make informed decisions in relation to critical services, especially during periods of disruption. define how the council will approach business continuity, how it'll be structured and resourced, and enable the organisation to be aware of when to implement business continuity arrangements or plans specific to different departments or were required. The policy does concentrate on our critical services provided by council, priority functions and the minimum staffing levels required so we can continue to deliver these critical functions. Policy draws on the principles and approaches set out in international standards and the Business Continuity Institute's good practice guidelines. The policy will be supported by Business Continuity Management Framework, which contains guidance and templates to help assist departments with the development of their business continuity plans. And the policy also sets out roles and responsibilities. There are no further financial implications at this stage in relation to the policy and how it's going to be implemented. And in terms of legal implications, the policy may contribute to ensure legal compliance with various related legislation. In relation to risk, the policy very much speaks to our ABC 08 business continuity risk, stating that if business continuity arrangements including the required support are not in place, then the council may fail to mitigate against disruption to planned service delivery. So having this policy in place is the first step, I suppose, or one of the main steps in relation to mitigating against that risk. And the equality and rural needs screening and impact assessments are included with the report. And there are no known climate or sustainability implications associated with the development of the report or the policy. So it's recommended to members to approve the draft business continuity policy, and I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Martina. Members, I don't see any lights on. Have any questions or comments for Martina? If we're happy to approve, can I have a proposer and seconder? Proposed by Councillor Macbill. Seconder. Thank you, Councillor Lavery, seconded by Councillor McNally. So all agreed. We'll move on to agenda item 7.1, external consultation schedule 2024. It's a decision item, so I'll pass you to Elaine for this.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening, members. Report 7.1 is our regular monthly external consultation schedule, and this month's external consultation schedule is attached as Appendix 1. Tonight we're seeking approval to proceed as set out in the report, which is to note the 6 external consultations on the schedule. Thank you.
Thanks a million, Elaine. Members, again, I don't see any lights on as it's the decision item, so I'll seek a proposer and seconder to approve. Proposed by Councillor Hare, seconded by Councillor Evans. Thank you. All agreed, members? And then we have an information item at 7.2. If anyone has any questions again for Elaine? No? Okay, members, that's great. We'll move on to item 8.1, dates for council committee meetings and report on council and committee issues. I'll pass you to Kate for those. Where are we? Kate, got about her.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, members. This is a decision item and the report is taken as read. Members are asked to agree the dates for meetings in 2025, subject to changes as required throughout the calendar year. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, if we're happy to approve, can I get a proposer and seconder? Proposed by Councillor O'Dowd, seconded by Councillor Savage. Thank you. And on to 8.2. Kate, again, thanks.
Thank you, Chair. Members, this is another decision item and the report is taken as read. Members will be aware that a meeting of the Governance Working Group took place on Thursday, the 10th of October, at which a report on a number of council and committee meeting issues was brought and discussed by members. Members, the recommendation is that members agree to the recommendations from the Governance Working Group in terms of deputations, EOB, condolences, confidential business and the process for consideration of motions and amendments. Thank you, members.
Thank you, Kate. Members, Alderman Baxter.
Yeah, just in terms of the happy to propose. I was on that working group for the most part. Just in terms of motions and amendments, it always causes a lot of raised eyebrows when we're in the meeting. Can I just ask that? Well, there will be, but Lord Mayors and Chairs are well trained and well versed in how that's going forward. And even members, if there is a training session open to all members, and I think if everybody knows it, then there should be no excuses from anybody going forward. Because I think it was quite a bit of work went into that, Wendy, and you'll know the amount of work that was put in to try and streamline that a bit, and I think it's the best way forward, and it's actually quite concise now, so it's important, I think, that members know, but especially for the Lord Mayor, I think, of the day as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Baxter. Agree with that. And I don't think our officer would be too unhappy to give that presentation again. It was comprehensive. Members, Alderman Baxter has proposed. Can I get a seconder to approve? Thank you, Councillor Herr. Happy days, good stuff. Thank you. And we have an information item just on 8.3, the local democracy week event. So Councillor Lavery.
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted, I was involved in that event along with other elected reps. I just wanted to put my thanks on record for all the staff who were involved in putting all that together, especially those who spoke as well, Wendy and others, to update on the various work that goes on in council. And thanks as well to the young people themselves who asked some fairly tough, questions. Really did put us on our toes, which highlights the amount of talent, we have in our borough and who are interested in public services, and maybe lets ourselves know as elected reps that, time's a ticking, that the younger generations are coming through, and we'll see them in the elections in the future, no doubt. But I just thought it was a great event, and we encourage other elected reps, in future years, if similar things are ongoing, to go along to them and put your views across. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Yeah, it was an event I was sorry I missed. Councillor McLennan.
Okay, Chair, thank you for letting me in. And with your indulgence, it's maybe a broader point. I did see somewhere in the papers on 8 that at the end of the month we're having Ulster Farmers Union and rural support. And so I think that could not be more timely, and it could not be more timely given the disastrous budget that agriculture received in from this Labour government last Wednesday. So that is excellent timing, because at the stage that I asked for UFU and rural support to come and make a presentation, agriculture had issues, but my heavens, we most certainly have issues now. So excellent timing, and look forward to it. Thanks, Chair, for your indulgence.
Thank you, Councillor McLennan. Councillor Savage.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, just to comment on the local democracy week, and I'd agree with Councillor Lavery and everything, and thank Wendy and all the team for the work they put into that, making that happen that night. But very good meeting. I had the pleasure of chairing it that night, and the questions were very good from the young people, and it's good to see that those young people are engaged with local democracy here, and especially the chamber, and it's great to welcome them in here. So very good event, and look forward to the next one. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, Councillor Herr.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yeah, I would like to concur both with my colleagues there. We would definitely put through our paces that night, and the feedback from it has been very, very good, and it's very worthwhile. And I'd like to thank all the officers for putting all the hard work in, and thank you.
Great, members. Thank you. Sounds like a job well done on Local Democracy Week. So we have no items of correspondence. So can I have a proposer and seconder to go into confidential business? Proposed by Councillor Savage, seconded by Councillor Mackel. Thank you. Members and online viewers, in accordance with Schedule 6 of the Local Government Act, we will now be moving into a confidential session of the the officers to turn on the public feed and confirm with me when it's on so the meeting can proceed again in open session. And can I seek proposer and seconder to agree the recommendations made in committee? Proposed by councillor Mackel, seconded by councillor Evans. Thank you. Members, no items of any other business, so you're free to go. Thank you. Good night.